Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hello there. Welcome to the program. Well, I don't know how much you subjected yourself to the reporting, political reporting last night during the vote counting in the last primary batch. I did not do much myself because I get to the point where I literally, my health does not allow it. I'm under doctor's orders not to do it. But I happened to catch, and I still can't get it out of my head. And those of you who saw it too know that it just was unbelievable, was Donald Trump's victory speech in Florida. What was unbelievable about it was not Donald Trump. It was the guy who introduced him and then spent the whole of Trump's speech standing directly behind him. And that man was New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Now, we've all come to know Chris Christie. We get a sense of him. This is a guy with boundless energy and ambition, with a sharp tongue and a smart head, and a brawler and bully in a political game. An impressive politician in many ways, who many expected would be a front runner for this nomination. Well, as we know, that did not happen. And as we know, Christie became the first sort of astonishing Republican establishment figure to endorse Donald Trump. And there he was, introducing Trump after this, what looked like a pretty good sweep. Not as good as they wanted. Not as good. Trump took 6 states out of 10. So that shows some little bit of dent in the inevitability armor. But Christie stood up there. And first of all, it's what he said. He said things like, and he did it in this, you know how Christie is like he's a fiery orator. And he was without affect. It was almost like he was drugged. And he said things like, and Donald Trump will unite America and unite the Republican Party. And this is for introducing a victor after a big, and it was the most bizarre, cognitively dissonant appearance that I was saying, what the hell is wrong with him? And then he said, also with not any fervor at all, let me introduce to you the next president of the United States. Now, those are chilling words when Donald Trump then shows up at the podium. But as Donald came up, Christie stepped back. And so throughout Trump's speech, there's Christie. And I guess Twitter went insane because I wasn't the only one who was seeing what I was seeing. Everybody was. And everybody was saying, what the? And a lot of people came up with the same idea. He looks like a guy who's being held hostage. Someone tweeted, I think if you look at his eyes, he's blinking, help me, help me. He looked for all the world like somebody who was realizing, I have made a Faustian deal with the devil. What the hell have I done? You could see so much on his face, and none of it was joy. None of it was, yeah, we won this. None of it was any of that. He looked like he was going to throw up. Someone else tweeted, it looks like they're holding a bachelor auction or something and no one is bidding on Chris Christie. Yeah, if you missed it, it was something. It was something. And sorry, Christie, you made the choice. He made an obvious political calculation, but you could see the second thoughts, the total doubts, the voice in his head saying, you have destroyed your legacy, your career, everything. What the hell have you done? I read this morning, somebody saw that his hand was balled in his pocket, in his pants pocket, and he could actually see it form into a fist every once in a while, and then manage to relax again. But there was like, I mean, it was, and listen, Trump ain't gonna like this. The fact is, no one listened. You couldn't help but just look at that grim, unhappy, I'm going to hell in a handbasket stare on Christie's face. Was beyond belief. So, I mean, I don't know. I really need to look up more of what the Twittersphere was tweeting because it was funny. It was funny, and in a way it was sad. I mean, it's always hard to look at a person, male or female, who have been on top, who wanted more, and who made a really bad choice. And he couldn't, even he, a master politician, could not hide it. So my takeaway from last night was I never saw anything like that. The same day, I mean, some of the facts behind it is that I think like 6 or 7 newspapers in his home state, New Jersey, that endorsed him in the past have said he should step down or face impeachment. There are calls for his impeachment. The New Hampshire newspaper that endorsed him in this contest, in the second primary that was held, also took back its endorsement said, geez, did we make a mistake with that? So here's a guy who's, I don't know. I think we are all thinking that he thinks that Trump is such a lightweight politically that he'd be able to be Dick Cheney to him. That's my guess at what his... And in fact, where did I see it? I think it was in the Wall Street Journal. He actually said something to that effect. And of course, I'm not finding it. But he said, I will be next to him. I will be able to help him see my point. I don't agree with him on everything, but he wanted to be right next to Trump's ear. And that's the deal he made, figuring he'd be able to have influence. And he was clearly thinking, I fucked up. You cannot look at it in any other way unless we don't know something like he just heard his best friend had died. I don't. What? There are
close-ups of his face all over Twitter.
Oh, okay. Celine's looking on Twitter now. She says there's just millions of pictures of his face. And look at that face. That face is like... And this is after he said, the next president of the United States. Maybe his saying that is what did it to him. I don't know. But if you even look at his intro, then look at him standing there looking like he's going to puke. Or wondering if he can get his money back from the devil. Is there a way I could possibly... Jesus, unbelievable. So, here's some other takeaways, I guess, from last night, and I'm sure you guys, being political junkies, are probably way ahead of me here. But it seems to me that if you look at the numbers, and if you Google delegate count, Trump at this point is not running away with this thing at all. So everybody take a deep breath here and then get scared all over again, because quite clearly, I think the guy who had the best night last night was Ted Cruz. He won 3 states. He won Texas. He won Oklahoma that nobody said he was going to win. And he won Alaska. Which is a caucus state, I think. So Marco Rubio eked out a win in Minnesota. So now it cannot be said of Little Marco, as the Donald calls him, it cannot be said of Little Marco that he hasn't even won one. But mostly he finished in 3rd place, like he does. And I don't think last night, I guess he did. He was able to finally really do a victory speech. But he was a big loser. And if he loses Florida, his home state, which that'll be a battle royal. Florida coming up. I was looking at the number of primaries and how they're happening. And they're coming fast and furiously now. Florida is one of the March 15th states. If Trump is going to pull away and tack this thing down before the convention, then he's got to step on it. And he's under such attack that might be difficult. I mean, apparently in these winner-take-all states, which are coming up, sometimes you can't get the numbers, right? You can't get it unless you tally at least 50% of the vote. Trump has never done that. He's never risen. He's gotten close, but never gotten 50% of the vote. Next up, this is odd. Today, Maine and Puerto Rico are having primaries. It says so right here. Upcoming caucuses and primaries. Oh, the Democrats in Maine. Puerto Rico. Then March 8th, which would be Saturday? March 8th, we have Michigan. That's a biggie. Michigan, Mississippi, Hawaii, and Idaho. Then you got the Virgin Islands. And on the 12th, another Saturday, I believe, or not, you get, this is a huge one, Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands. And then you get to the big one, March 15th. Caller. Hello.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike from D.C.
Hey, Mike.
So just last night, as I was thinking, okay, you're wrong, you're going to have to eat crow, I turned the sound up on MSNBC, and Tom DeLay was on. Did you see the interview with Chris Matthews?
No.
And he told Chris Matthews the delegates are under no responsibility, are under no requirement to vote for the candidates that the people chose.
Well, at risk of their heads. I mean,
Chris Matthews went berserk.
Yeah, how do you do that, really? I mean, if you're I think you have to on the first ballot. I don't know. I never believed a word DeLay said anyway, and I'm not sure. But I think on the first ballot, you're supposed to, yeah. Maybe you don't legally have to, but it would be considered an outrage. And it would outrage Trump supporters to the point where they wouldn't show up for any general election and anybody that the establishment picked. So they'd go down in flames anyway.
Yeah, that's the point that Chris Matthews was making, but DeLay was having none of it. He kept arguing the point, and I don't know the topic as well as he thinks he does, but that's the road to success, I think.
Well, they're out of their minds. That is no success. What they're saying is that's sort of like the Vietnam thing. We destroyed the village in order to save it. I don't know if you recall that quote, but that was actually a quote from someone in our military. And maybe they would think it's better for us to lose this election without Trump doing us any more damage than to let him. I think they're afraid he might win the election. Either way, I mean, they're trying to keep their party alive. It is true. I'm hearing talk about we'll have a Republican Party sort of in exile. I don't know. See, I'm starting to come more to you're starting to get nervous and think, I'm wrong. Trump is going to get the nomination. And I'm starting to think, well, I don't know, because did you see what Lindsey Graham said today?
No.
Lindsey Graham, who had said just about, a week ago or something, that if Ted Cruz were murdered on the House floor, the Senate would not indict or something. I mean, nobody would even give a shit. They would just drag him out and throw him over a portico. And he apparently tweeted today or last night, it looks like we might have to get behind Ted Cruz. So
Well, that bodes well for Hillary because
she wants him.
I,
That's what they were saying. The Clintons want Cruz. They don't want Trump. The reason being, Cruz is the devil they know. He is a politician. They know about him. They know what to expect. He's a politician like they are. Trump is just this lunatic and wild card. And I heard this on somewhere, and they were talking as if it's absolutely a done deal, that with Trump running against Hillary, you can expect him to do things like have the women that Bill Clinton allegedly raped and or had affairs with, have them part of his campaign.
Well, he knows that he can't win without women because last night during his speech, if you heard any of it, he talked about the importance of Planned Parenthood. He said, but not the abortion side.
Right, but I did hear that. But I was I spent his whole speech looking at
I did too. And
Christie.
I had it turned off after I couldn't take it anymore, I turned the sound off. And I said, wow, what horrible optics that is.
What do you think was going on in Christie's miserable mind?
That he's never going to be on stage again and that he lost his chance. And Trump is going to dump him like, I don't know what. Because Trump is all about the optics. He wants it to look good.
And he doesn't want people distracting from him. And everyone was focused on Christie standing behind him looking like he was going to shoot himself.
Yes, if he thought he was going to be the next Karl Rove, it's not happening now.
No. I think he thought he was going to be the next Dick Cheney.
Cheney.
Not necessarily as vice president, but as somebody who would have President Trump's ear. So I don't know. I mean, the Clinton, I heard it from somebody who I guess knows the operation. They don't want to run against Trump because he doesn't play by the rules. You have no idea, totally unpredictable. And
he's not an establishment candidate.
That's right.
Hillary tries saying that she is an establishment. She's the first woman.
Oh, please. I mean,
But
come
she's an
on.
establishment
You can't get more establishment than Hillary. You can't, unless, yes, you had a penis, but that's just, that's no big deal now. You can't get more establishment than her.
But at least if she's running against a senator, she's able to pull the record and say, here's what he believes in, here's what he doesn't. So I agree, they don't want Trump. But I was scared last night when Rubio only got one.
Oh, Rubio's done. As usual, the establishment picked, again, the wrong person. They go to Jeb Bush, they see what's happening, then they go to Rubio. Rubio isn't going to do it. Clearly, the voters are speaking. He ain't going to do it. So they're left with Ted Cruz, whom they loathe, and Donald Trump. They loathe.
Assuming they play by the rules. And that was my comment yesterday when I was so rudely ejected.
You were? What happened?
Then we got cut off because Alex screwed it up. But anyway.
Okay.
I was saying they're not going to play by the rules. They're going to do whatever they have to get.
Okay, but I hear what you're saying, but then they're going to prove to their base that the base was right and that the party doesn't care one bit about them, and it'll destroy the party.
Unless Trump agrees to it. Unless Trump doesn't make a fuss, because he never wanted to do this anyway, like Susan said.
Right. Unless that's correct. Unless Trump starts thinking, geez, I don't think I really can do this. Let's get me out of here. Yeah. It's possible.
Did he claim health issues? No, he wouldn't say he was weak and had a bad heart.
No.
What excuse could he give?
His little sausage fingers can't take it?
I need to spend time with my new granddaughter, Ianka, whatever her name is having a daughter. He mentioned that last night, too.
Oh, really?
Having a child, yeah.
Yes, all right. Okay. God.
But you know that she and Chelsea are friends, right?
I know, they're buddies. I think it's more, because, listen, you're talking about 1%ers, in New York They're the same age. I think the husbands of both women are friends. Both nice Jewish boys. Ivanka married a nice Jewish boy, and so did Hillary. Chelsea.
Yeah, Hillary did marry a nice Jewish boy. We wouldn't be in
She
this mess.
should have. Right. She should have. Oh, God. Well, Mike, one of us will have egg on our face, but it's quite all right because we both have, have staked out positions, and I'm getting a little weak in the knees, and I don't blame you for doing it. Nobody knows what the hell's going to happen.
Okay.
All right. Good luck.
Stay tuned. Bye.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, also says here in the Wall Street Journal that even though I'm saying Trump didn't do as well as he'd wanted to, it does show that his support is widening. It's widening geographically, and it's widening in economic and educational demographics. In other words, Donald Trump is now winning wide margins among those with college degrees. Where the hell do those people go to college? With college degrees and without college degrees. The poorly educated he loves. But now he can like the educated because both those demographics are saying, I choose Trump, as are people earning more than $50,000 a year and those earning less than $50,000 a year. You just wonder if Trump University, that lawsuit, and all of the crap in his past can take him down. But then you realize that his base doesn't care about any of it. I said, unless the photo comes up of him molesting an entire pre-K class, there ain't no getting away from him. And let me go over to the Democratic side for a moment. We're talking about the Hillary like she's inevitable, and I suspect she is because of the rigged race in the Democratic Party with superdelegates. But Bernie Sanders took didn't he take 4 states yesterday too? Or 3? But he took Colorado, he took his home state of Vermont, he took, Oklahoma, and I think one other. If he had taken Massachusetts, that would have shown that she definitely could be in some trouble, but he did not. So I don't know what to tell you. Phil is telling me, hi, Lynn, I found the most interesting and telling exchange of the evening to be the one between Charlie Rose and Lindsey Graham. Graham trashed both Cruz and Trump and said that the Republican Party is coming apart. Last week, Graham said, my party is going batshit crazy. Right. What's scaring me the most is the thought that Trump might actually become president. Join the crowd, Phil. Join the crowd. Phil writes, I've been trying to imagine how Hillary goes nose to nose against him and how her case will be seen in this charged atmosphere with him doing his Trump thing with her. He'll throw her off. I mean, we were always saying, I can't wait to see Trump go head-to-head with Hillary in a foreign policy debate. Because he doesn't know anything, and she knows everything. But he's creating a political circus in which knowledge really is secondary, I guess. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, Clarence from Canonsburg, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I think a mistake that liberals make when they think about Trump supporters, because they think that Trump supporters empathize. They look at the things that are going on, and look at the things that Trump did, and, all this stuff with the Trump University and all the things that has passed. They don't care. They want to save their own asses. Right. When they see Trump, the college-educated people making over $50,000, they see liberals taking something away from them. They see Trump letting them keep it. That's what their concern is. That's why they support him.
And I heard somebody say also that because of his braggadocio and his, I'll fix it and I'll do this and I'll do that and blah, 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 everything will be huge and, wonderful and the best ever, that they see in him the strength and the power that they want, that they have never had.
Yeah. They see him like the epitome of the American dream.
Exactly. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? That's the epitome of the American dream?
Yeah.
Shoot me now.
Yeah, but I always think of liberals as, why are these people, trust me, on my Facebook page, the people supporting Trump, and actually posting it are well-off people.
Yeah.
They're well-off people. They all inherited it, just like Trump. They didn't do anything to make it. They started out with $1 million loans from their dads, but they're the ones that are, and I'm arguing with them, and I haven't brought that up yet. I said, why does it seem like you guys who didn't earn your money the old-fashioned way are supporting Trump? I think you see yourself in him. But, that whole strength, and I think they're afraid, especially people who didn't earn it, are afraid it's going to be taken away from them somehow, with a new, inheritance tax or something like that. So they're going to support Trump. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, the more you talk about him, the deeper they get.
It really is. I mean, it is. If I see one more pundit say, I've never seen, still shaking his head or her head, I've never seen anything like this. We are seeing, again, I was starting to talk yesterday in a more serious vein about how fragile a democracy can be.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of those situations, and I always argue with the people who are like, I can't believe this. See, he still has to deal with Congress and the Constitution. He's not. He could act like a dictator, but he's not.
Well, that's true. Thank God for those checks and balances.
Exactly.
But as a president, he can also do crazy things like push buttons, and his bellicosity can create such a mess in the world. Mm-hmm. And what happens when these people who think he's the second coming and he becomes president and he can't do a damn thing that he says he's going to do?
That was one of my arguments. The one guy said, this guy, he's rich. He says, he knows people. He can get things done. Believe me. And I went, so? He said, believe me. I said, I'm not you. I'm not going to believe just things you say like you believe Trump. The things he said. It was like, believe me, he knows people. He can get things done. That's an argument.
I mean, and wait a minute. Washington, and these same Trump supporters would have to admit, Washington is full of rich people who know what's going on and who get things done. They might not like what those things are, but yeah, I mean, Trump's somehow going to be able to do stuff that...
Think of who he has to deal with. That Republican establishment that he just stomped. That he just kicked to the curb. I said, they don't even like him. You know what I mean? I said, even the Republican establishment. They're going to start... That's what my theory on Christie was, that he was running for vice president, and he knows somebody's going to come up with something on Trump as soon as he gets elected that's going to start impeachment proceedings.
Yeah, but, well, no, anything on Trump is coming out before the election. Mm-hmm. And what the Republicans are just desperate to do is between now and July 16th, I guess, is their convention, is to somehow take him down. Do the work of what the Democrats should have to do.
And that's the excuse that Trump can get to get out of the game. These people are coming after me and my business, and I got to think about my children's future, so I'm going to drop out and fight this.
Do you think he will?
I don't know. I don't think Trump has Trump's ego won't let him. You know what I mean?
I think his ego won't let him either.
Yeah. No, I don't think he'll drop out.
Because that's a quitter. A quitter's a loser. I mean, but of course he can do whatever he wants, and he'll say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
He
it
says, I'm
doesn't
a
matter.
winner.
Yeah,
Like
right.
anybody who can walk around with hair like that.
Oh God!
That's no problem doing or saying anything.
I heard a woman say on some newscast that she was voting for Trump, and she was saying, and more even than him, it's his wife. That woman is so beautiful and so classy. They are such a gorgeous couple. And I'm thinking, have you lost your goddamn... Maybe I've never had a mind. I don't know what. She was like a Maxim centerfold, practically.
Yeah.
That's class.
But there was a good article, by the way, in Rolling Stone, that blames the Republicans. The Bush was the beginning. This
Sure.
monster they created called Trump. It was really well done.
I read that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I always try to tell the liberals or the Democrats and all this kind of good stuff that when they say, I can't believe this, I'm like, where have you been?
Yeah.
I always want to say, you ivory towered
Yeah.
liberals. Have you walked through a Walmart?
But you know what? Right, exactly. Get out in the world a little bit more, okay?
Yeah.
And believe it because it is happening. And stop underestimating Donald Trump.
Yeah. He's a person who gets people to the polls. It's a numbers game.
Well, you know what? He has increased. They're breaking every record in these Republican primaries for turnout.
Yeah.
What happens if they knock Trump out of the race somehow, if the establishment does? You think those numbers, that turnout number, is going to be there in the general? No.
And that's what I'm interested to see, the anti-Trump vote from the Democratic side. How many humans are going to go out and vote? Yeah.
Well, yes, I mean, it would nothing, with the base of the Democratic Party is not thrilled about Hillary, perhaps, but boy, a potential Trump presidency would fire up the Democrats, I would think. I would think.
And that's what I felt. I said, Hillary, although, Hillary's a wonk. She can't fake it. Like Al Gore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't go out there. They don't have the rhetorical skills of a Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. And they're trying to get Hillary to fake that. Like they did with Al Gore, so she comes off as, not genuine.
Yeah, I know. She has her incredible skills and qualities, but being charismatic and knowing is not one of them. Just not one of them. I'm sorry.
She needs faces out there to do that for her.
Yeah.
And the anti-Trump vote. And this is what I and to keep the youth and the people who vote for Bernie excited to go out and vote and not be disappointed. All that together is going to make an interesting number come November. The number is going to be interesting. How many humans will go out there and vote?
Well, I also want Democrats to realize that a lot of Democrats are on board with Trump.
Yeah. I've realized that too.
Okay.
There were a lot. A lot
realize
of
that. Yeah. Realize
Those
that.
are the people I said. The ones who really think that they buy Nikes, they're going to be able to slam dunk like Michael Jordan.
Now. See,
that's it. That's the personality. If you buy the Nikes, you're going to jump. You're going to jump as high as Jordan. They follow the trend, and Trump is a trend. And
he's a big trend.
He's
a movement, as he's been told. All righty,
okay.
Clarence.
Nice
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Roger writes, do you think Trump's audience will be as vocal in a general election as opposed to the Jerry Springer-type primary election debates? He's saying in the debate situation. I remember Gore getting crucified just for sighing when Bush said batshit in 2000. Will Trump actually get bolstered in the general election if he continues his adolescent antics, facial expressions, and redundant doublespeak using a vocabulary of less than 200 words? I don't know, Roger. We're just going to have to find out. Speaking of his words, John Oliver ran a great little bit from Trump where he said, I went to the best schools. I have the best education. I have the best words, he said. What the hell does that mean? I have the best words. I have a big vocabulary. I have the best words. And then you realize that when Trump speaks, a sentence is rarely longer than 6 words. He speaks in these bap, bap, bap. And usually starts with I. I have this. I am this. And it's this clipped short. It hardly sounds like an educated vocabulary. And that in part is also why he's a direct, what he's saying is not difficult to get. It's said in short, to the point, whether the point is absurd or not, but said with conviction. Oh, God, I just don't know. So, I just want to make a point of saying that right now, in Washington, D.C., something extremely important is happening. It is the Supreme Court, and it is hearing arguments in the Texas abortion case. This is the first major abortion case to come up before the Supreme Court in, I guess, 10-some years. And this is a doozy. Because if this court, minus Scalia, were to deadlock 4-4, then that means that the lower court's ruling would stand. And the lower court's ruling was saying that the draconian law passed by the Texas legislature and signed by their governor to keep abortion from being accessible to most women in Texas will stay. And if that law is upheld by virtue of the fact that the court is 4-4, then you will see a ton of other states immediately try to replicate that law. And understand that what that law does, here's where, again, you think the United States is somehow impervious to the kinds of calamitous outcomes we have seen in other nations that seem to be stable, and then all of a sudden, again, I'll give you Germany. It's just a point, because Germany was a democracy, and then it wasn't. Since Roe v. Wade, the medical procedure, abortion, has been legal in this country. Since Roe v. Wade, state legislators in legislatures all over this country, the majority of which are populated by right-wing conservative Republicans, anti-abortion, have passed these laws that are nothing but attempts. They always couch them in, we are concerned for women's health. And because of that, if a woman gets an abortion, we want that facility to be like the slickest hospital environment. If anything were to go wrong, we want this there, that there. You cannot imagine the picayunish nonsense of these laws. They are intended to put abortion providers out of business because the cost of complying with all the requirements is prohibitive. And so, since this bill was passed, the number of places where a woman in Texas can access an abortion, her constitutional right, dropped from 40 clinics to 10. Or it will drop to 10. if this is upheld. Texas is a big state. We're talking 10 clinics for 6 million women. So that even if you could get to one of them, the odds of you being able to get an appointment before your pregnancy was now at a second trimester, making it much more of a medical procedure than it needed to be. There have already been reports in Texas, especially among Latinas, of self-induced abortions going on from women who are desperate and did not have the ability to travel 250 miles to get to a clinic, then to cool their heels for 2 or 3 days while they're shown videos and just generally harassed before they can get this procedure. Understand that the bull about the health of a woman is just that, bull. We have a call. Hello, caller.
Hello. Just listening to your discussion there, and I was wondering if you were aware that there's a battle a little closer to home going on as well in West Virginia.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem to ever... It's always weird to me that we're neighboring states, and for some reason, I know in Planned Parenthood they're considered a separate region. So maybe you fully understand what's going on.
Well, I just had read something, but there, of course, West Virginia is going after it's going after the same and taking the same route that Texas
I know that they had a bit. Well, yeah, they're also doing a couple other things.
Yeah.
I
forget.
People were able to use Medicaid somehow as far as accessing abortion.
Right. So stop and think about it. So West Virginia's a poor state. A lot of people have Medicaid as their insurance. And they're saying, well, fine and dandy, we ain't going to let you use that Medicaid.
But they were an oddball state in being allowed to do that anyways, right? And I didn't understand. Maybe you can explain to me.
No, I don't think.
I got a letter about this, but it was just saying that they were taking away people's ability to use government funds for transportation to you get an abortion. Because I think there's only a handful of clinics in the state, of course.
Yes, I mean, I am quite certain that the Planned Parenthood clinic here in Pittsburgh sees a lot of women from West Virginia and from Ohio.
I'm sure they do, although I wouldn't have thought Wheeling was particularly bad. But I don't even know where the clinics in the northern Panhandle are, but I know that there's a couple.
Maybe Morgantown would have one, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, anyways, I just wanted that. I mean, it's not always just the faraway state of Texas.
It's every state.
It is, and it does seem. I just keep wondering, like, are things going to finally reach some horrific point when people are inducing their own abortions?
But they are.
Seeing this happen again, and people actually know people that die or get really bad infections to turn people's minds around.
We're already. Yeah, that's exactly what we got to see. We got to go way back to the beginning, so that I guess all these women who think, oh, we got that right. Well, no, you don't, and it can be taken away, bang, just like that. Justice Kennedy, who's believed to be the only hope here, has been on the receiving end of a number of letters from women who have had abortions and are telling him why that it for them was a life-saving kind of a situation, and they're hoping that kind of thing. My sister was telling me last night that taking a page from the LBGT successes, where the only way that took off is when gay people stood up and said, "I'm gay."
Oh yeah.
This is what a gay person is.
Did you hear that? I don't know. There was a story last night. I think she was an Ohio legislator that she spoke. You know, she's a legislator, and she actually told her story
about an abortion.
Well, it was an abortion after being raped,
Yeah.
And so she had never really, I don't know if she'd ever told her family, but apparently she hadn't told much of anybody this story until she's told it in the Ohio legislature.
Well,
Not that it did any good, but...
No, but you
still.
see, this is what, and my sister and I were thinking, oh boy, is it time for all the women
right. And
to come out?
Aware of that they've been trying to push that for a couple of years. That if a third of women have really had abortions, it's time that they start saying, like, I had this, and if they think it was a good thing in their lives, they sure need to say something because it's reaching the critical point here. I mean, I guess I thought that for a couple of years, but with this ruling, like you're pointing out, it's really critical.
Well, I have to tell you, the reason women who have had abortions do not speak up is the same reason that gay people stayed in the closet.
Right.
It is considered shameful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel silly at this point saying a whole lot because I'm obviously never going to face that choice.
Right.
But
and because, and another reason, just like the gays, they never told their families.
Right.
Women maybe didn't even tell their husbands. Daughters certainly didn't tell their moms and dads. And to do that, now it's the same kind of thing. And maybe women need, you know what? I'll do it right now. I have had an abortion. My family does not know that, okay? I just did it. I have had an abortion, and it was an extremely difficult thing in every way. And I was using birth control. When they say, oh, well, if you're going to be so careless and blah, blah,
right.
Sorry, guys, it doesn't work all the time, obviously.
Right. No,
so
I
couldn't at that point in my life. I couldn't. And for me, the absolute right thing. And I did it quickly. And I have not regretted it. I have only, sometimes you think, oh, I wonder what, no, but no regret. But I've never said that publicly.
Right.
Okay, so maybe we need women to come out and say it.
No, I think you're right. I don't know. I mean, if a third of women have had abortions, then I have to know a lot that did. I know very few that have actually told me that, but I do know a lot that have told me they got pregnant while on birth control. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of people in your shoes and that had the same experience that you have.
Well, and I also have experience with two friends who became pregnant in college. And this was prior to Roe v. Wade. And I was party to seeking out and tending to them getting these frighteningly illegal abortions. And in one case, it was truly frightening.
I can only, but the whole thing sounds frightening no matter how you come at it. To me, I can't even imagine.
No.
I mean, if you're trying to do it yourself.
It's unbelievable. So we're heading right back there. And right now, at the Supreme Court, the arguments are being made. And God help all the women of childbearing age, who think this constitutional right is really there. It's there, but if you can't access the right, it isn't. And increasingly, for the only women who can, just like in the days before Roe v. Wade, the only women who will be able to access safe abortions are rich women.
That's
rich
I
women.
Was thinking about that this morning, where you're talking about these like the people that support, basically conservatives. There's a huge chunk of them that are so wealthy, like that will never be an issue. But the worst thing that they'll do is have to ship their kid out of the country or something to have it done.
That's right.
And they have all the cash they need.
Yeah.
I wish I knew the name of that charity. That there was a woman
in Texas.
In Texas, the thing.
Yeah, we interviewed her. Yeah, we interviewed her.
I probably heard about it on here.
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah,
she changed her name because she's so politically correct that she changed it from woman to. Yeah, but she helps pay. She gets money and puts them up in hotels or motels because they've got to go across state lines.
Right. I don't understand how that kind of stuff doesn't get any coverage, anywhere beyond your show. Because how did you even? Well, I don't. Maybe it did. Because I don't
What?
That charity and the fact that there is a need for that charity and the fact that it's going to expand as this legislation expands across the country.
Yeah.
And you think about places like West Virginia that has absolutely no transportation system whatsoever.
Right.
There is no way to get around that state. So I don't even know how you would have.
And so you have,
like that.
think of it, poor women living in a rural situation. They might not even have access to birth control.
They don't have access to anything.
And they don't have money. They can't afford to have another child. And yet they might be getting pregnant constantly. It keeps them in poverty.
Yeah.
It's just absolute insanity. And
it is, especially when you hear these conversations about how terrible Sanders is because he's a socialist. Well, look at the countries that he's comparing us to. Does this problem even exist in Sweden and Norway?
No, of course not.
I would like to know the poverty rates for Sweden and Norway.
There aren't any.
So, yeah.
No, there aren't any.
So when everybody keeps telling me, socialism doesn't work, well, look at the countries and compare the problems they have to what we have. I think they have some racial issues, but I don't think they have all these other issues.
Well, just so you know that this Texas law that might be essentially upheld, it harasses clinics to the point of a janitor's closet. They'll look in a janitor's closet and say, this will not do. You need to have a socket 2.5 inches off the floor, blah, blah, blah. I am not kidding you, that picky, unish crap. All of it.
Yeah. And that
intended.
Thing about the doctors needing the admission privileges.
That's bullshit, too.
Interviewed on Democracy Now!, and he was like, it's illegal in this country for a patient to come to a hospital and not be admitted.
Exactly.
So, that's the most ridiculous.
Exactly.
Why is it that every single story that's ever in a newspaper or on TV doesn't say that? I do not understand. Just say that.
Do you know? Abortion done in a clinic is one of the safest medical procedures you can have. It's 1,000,000 times safer than, for instance, getting a colonoscopy. But guess what? Those clinics where you get colonoscopies, they don't have the same stringency of regulations and restrictions that they're doing to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers. And that is you can really die during a colonoscopy. You don't die during an abortion.
Right.
You die during childbirth.
Yeah. Right. So, anyways.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. And you reminded me to take a closer look at that West Virginia thing. I did see it. Celine, did you have something? What?
Fund Texas Choice. That's the woman's name.
What is the name of it?
Fund Texas Choice.
Fund Texas Choice is the charity that the caller was talking about, that this woman gets money and hooks up with desperate women who don't have the money to transport themselves to the nearest clinic and then stay in a hotel for 2 days. And she helps them with that, right? Yeah.
There's also the Lilith.
The Lilith?
Fund.
The Lilith Fund also Planned Parenthood, ladies and gentlemen, doing extraordinary work under, and the people who are providing women with all this health care, with pap smears, with mammograms and birth control and sex education and all this kind of stuff, they're the ones who are trying to prevent unwanted pregnancy. And you're going to try to put them out of business? You'll have nothing but more abortions, you idiots. Caller, go ahead.
Hello, Lynn.
Yes.
Yeah, you were talking to you yesterday about Trump and that. Hey, that's why I'll vote for Hillary Clinton for the human body rights. I believe in all that. I'm not the closet Trump supporter you think I am.
Well, you scared me yesterday, I'll tell you that.
I even go even further where I think you should have the right to die, too. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
I believe in that. I believe in Kevorkian and all that stuff. So the human body is your business, not theirs.
Get the Vatican out of my body.
Yeah, it's all religion is based on.
That's right.
All it is.
It's just religion.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye. Oh, God. Well, we live in interesting times. Was that safe? Hey, I just want to heads up. There is a movie being shown. Somebody told me about this. I'm going to go on Thursday at the Kelly Strayhorn. And it's a movie about something that very few people know about. It's called Rosenwald. And Rosenwald is a guy, I think his name was Julius, who actually is the founder of Sears. And he's been gone a long, he died in the 30s, I think. But he was a real amazing character. He was born in Springfield, Illinois, grew up sort of across from where Abe Lincoln's house was, born in 1862 during the Civil War. And he, of course, became very rich. He never finished high school. He understood the value of an education, and it came to be known to him that black children in this country were not, even after the Civil War, were not getting educated. And he found that an outrage. And this guy helped to build more than 5,000 schools all over the Jim Crow South. So that at some point, what was it? 1 out of every 3 African American children in the South was attending one of his schools. And these weren't just little shacks. He made them wonderful, well lit, and warm and cool and whatever. He had them. This one man built 5,300 schools and educated literally, what, hundreds of thousands, 1 million Americans all by himself. He also funded and supported YMCAs and YWCAs and housing for African Americans. And he gave huge grants to artists. He was a amazing man. One of the more amazing men in American history that we never heard about. Julius Rosenwald. Anyway, there's a documentary about him playing at the Kelly Strayhorn at 6 o'clock maybe tonight, 7:30. Rosenwald. And I'm going because, I mean, I can't believe I don't know about him. They did. In his day, he was maybe one of the 1%, head of Sears. They don't make the 1% like they used to make the 1%. Unbelievable. I want to know more about Julius Rosenwald. He was beloved by African Americans in the Jim Crow South. Beloved, and understandably so. He educated their children. He educated and gave them a chance, an opportunity. Some of the schools, by the way, he built, they were burned down by the KKK. He built them again. They were burned down again. He built them again. He was indomitable. Okay, just saying. I believe that's part of J-Film, the Jewish Film Festival, and ticket might be $10. I'm not sure. Okay, just so you know. Kelly Strayhorn tomorrow night. Toodaloo!
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.